And we are live. Welcome on your TV sets in Texas and Louisiana. We are coming to you on the Smart Money Culture TV network, as well as joining around the world on X, on LinkedIn, YouTube, and all the rest. We have a great show lined up today. There is a lot going on in the world. It just never stops. Gold is looking very nice. Remember, guys, you can go to at costmetals.com, and you can join there and buy gold, silver, palladium, and platinum at cost there. Use referral code clubs with an S. Put that there right at the bottom. I think that, and we'll have some more analysis on it as we move forward, but I think there's never been a more important time to diversify into gold, into silver, and have that part of your portfolio holdings. With that at Cost Metals Club, you can as well just get a silver dollar every month. And historically, if you got a silver dollar every month for 10 years or 20 years, you have like $1 million. I mean, it's a lot. So anyway, not financial advice and all that good stuff that I am supposed to say. There it is at costmetals.com. Gold and silver are up over 20% on the 6 months. Both of them are up about 23%. So big moves, not like Bitcoin where you're Xing and stuff like that. Okay. But it doesn't go down like Bitcoin either. So it's probably a bit of a safer bet. So we have what is going on. So gold is up, Bitcoin is up. Stocks are a bit tepid. It's they've stayed going up even over all of this news that we've had coming out. Of course, we had PPI numbers out yesterday. We have the CPI numbers out today. That's the core inflation numbers coming out today. You had Fed Chair Jerome Powell come out yesterday, and he says, I wouldn't say it's coming in hot. I wouldn't say hot. It was higher than all expectations, all higher than everybody had predicted. Every prediction, it was higher. Okay, so I mean, you want to say whatever you want to say about that is fine, but that's what it is. He says it's not hot. Well, then that's what he says, right? That's what he's supposed to say. He's supposed to say all kinds of stuff. So that's Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Of course, the Federal Reserve. People are starting to realize that the Federal Reserve is a privately held entity. It's had control of this country and most of the countries of the world for over 100 years. As it's been in this country. The Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913, same year as the IRS was put into place, and they have the unfettered ability to tax you and me and everybody else just by diluting your holdings. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Congress is in New York City. Congress is in New York City, and I say this because you have these guys just one by one. They are there, and they are out there on the stump basically for Trump in this hush money, as they're calling it, the hush money trial there in New York City. It is a bit of I said yesterday that it was like a reality TV show, because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like a reality TV show, and I mean it's not funny at all for the people for President Trump or anything, but it's you got the cast of characters out there. So yesterday you saw if you were watching, or even if these days you just look on X, right? You had the speaker out there. You had different congressmen that are out there, and I think senators as well, but definitely congressmen that are going there and showing their support outside of the courtroom. Now, I will say that this makes me think that possibly he might get off, because these guys, they don't like to be seen in a way that makes them look bad. And so if they thought that he was going to lose, then maybe maybe they wouldn't be out there. It's hard to say. I don't know. But definitely it makes me think that maybe the outcome will be decent out of there. That being said, I historically and I overall don't really think that we're going to have an outcome out of there that you really particularly like. I think that even if you just look at the case itself, I guess he sent the money over there to hush up the girl, and I don't know. So anyway, there's stuff there. I think I don't think he should be persecuted or anything like that, but. So we'll see. Fingers crossed that we get an outcome on that. Do not bet against Trump. That is for sure. You don't want to bet against that guy because you'll probably lose. But in general, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Oil is tepid. And as well as some of the currencies were kind of tepid. I think that the Japanese yen was actually gaining on the dollar, which I thought was fairly interesting. The war is intensifying. You saw, I could actually maybe even play that clip. You had Blinken over there in the Kiev, which I love Kiev. I've been to Kiev multiple times. I mean, I love Kiev. Kiev is a beautiful city. It's a beautiful old city. Beautiful churches. I mean, it is absolutely an unbelievable city. So he's over there. He's playing his guitar. He's hanging out. And, I guess obviously that was for optics. They wanted to have Blinken over there playing his guitar. I don't know why so much, but I'll pull that up in case you guys haven't seen it here. Let's see, share my screen. So Blinken's over there jamming out. We got guys, and this is Matt Gates says we got 1,000 people over in Niger. Over 1,000 U.S. troops abandoned in Niger, and Blinken rocks out in the Ukraine. Funny, the audio is good. Not bad. He's not bad at playing the guitar, though. So I will say that what is going on over there in the Ukraine right now is intensifying. We just bombed, or I say we, but of course, U.S.-backed Ukrainian forces have just bombed. Let's see, Ukraine bomb the place over there that is so Crimea. Just in Ukraine reportedly bombs. No, that's old. So Crimea, I guess that's the search I need to put in there. Crimea it's still burning right now. Yeah, here we go. The Ukrainian army launched a massive just an hour ago. That's why. ATACMS strike on Russian airbase in Belbek in occupied Crimea. The airbase is 225 kilometers away from the Ukrainian lines. It seems like there's significant damage inflicted. Fires are still burning on the site. Russia said that, I guess this is 3 hours ago, probably one of the initial reports. Russia said they downed 10 of the missiles. I don't know, I guess, how many missiles ended up getting through there. Crimea, of course, is, that's territory that Russia wants back. I think that I was talking with some people over the last little bit. Most people agree that, and it has been like this since the beginning of the war, that more than likely Russia is going to take about 20% of the land that was Ukrainian, and that's going to end up being the end of the war. Whether you like that or not, that was probably going to be the outcome before or after 500,000 men have been killed or more. It is the the amount of death over there is just unbelievable. Then, of course, you have what's going on in Israel. I'm not going to pull up any videos of that, but of course, they're going into Rafah. And you have Egypt now that is reaching out to Iran, and they're trying to normalize their ties. Egypt is kind of aghast. Israel is saying that they're going to put their settlements in Gaza, and wants to control the entire strip. You have the UN that has now accepted Palestine in there, so it is a mess. The thing about the whole UN part of it as well is the UN are the ones who actually, in the U.S. was behind it, I would say, very forcefully, but they used the UN is for the legal apparatus to establish Israel as a entity there in Palestine back in the 1940s. So the fact that now they are bringing in Palestine and you have Israel in there, tearing up the charter and everything like this, it is significant. It is significant. And I think that, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I pray for peace. I want there to be peace. I want all sides to stop killing each other. It's like Trump says, let's stop the killing. Okay, let's stop the killing. Stop the killing. So Bitcoin's looking pretty nice. It is pumped up so high. I was having a conversation with one of my friends about it. You may know him, Randy Schwartz. And we were talking about how it is so different on this bull run or on this run. I mean, it's what, 4x since the bottom, so it's a lot. It's a lot, 3 or 4x since the bottom on this cycle. But it's very different this time. And one of the reasons why it's different is because a lot of the inflow of the money is coming into the ETFs. It's coming into the paper Bitcoin and not into the Bitcoin markets. And that's one reason why I think it feels a bit hollow. And it may be one of the reasons why the alts have not maybe pumped quite as hard as we thought they would. Not saying that they won't. But a lot of times when the big buys are coming in, they're coming into the ETFs. And then you have the ETFs, of course, the markets never sleep for Bitcoin. And of course, the ETFs, in my opinion, pumped up the markets this high so that they could sell everybody their paper Bitcoin very, very high. The retirement, all the different, everybody's now getting exposure to Bitcoin in these ETFs. So pretty interesting. But, in order for the ETFs to continue doing that, they have to keep buying the market, buying the Bitcoins on the market to keep the price up. So it's an interesting situation. I think there's other reasons why. Of course, it feels hollow. We'll talk about it in a couple minutes with Matt. We're also going to play an interview at the end of this show. Another one, I think, from Paris Blockchain Week. Pretty exciting stuff as well. I had Consensus up here a minute ago. Consensus is coming up. It's in about 16 days. We have Consensus Austin. I think, guys, that this is going to be one of the most important events ever. I think that what is going on in the United States, that we're going to have people there. That's May 29th through the 31st in Austin, Texas. Okay. Tickets are right now, before they raise the price again, they're about $1,500. I think you get another 15% off if you use the referral code Bruce. You can Google Consensus, consensus24.coindesk.com. You can go directly to that URL as well. But you have a lot of important people that are going to be there. You're going to have the U.S. Treasury there. You're going to have people from the U.S. Congress there. You're going to have people from the SEC there. You're going to have people from you're going to have people from all the important agencies there, whether you know them or not, right? You'll have all the 3-letter agency guys there too. Some of them may not put it beside their name, but everybody is going to be there. This is going to be a very important event for the space in general. The U.S. controls so much of the space because we just have so much. There's so much money here. We're a very hardworking society, and very industrious. And so that's going to be a very important event. Make sure you check it out, consensus2024.coindesk.com, or just Google Consensus Austin. Use referral code Bruce for a 15% discount. We are also doing our signature event. So make sure to check that out. We're doing the Washington Elite Gala, or the awards ceremony and charity gala of the Washington Elite. We've done this event all over the world. We've done it from the palaces in Europe. We've done it at Versace Mansion. We've done it at the Harvard Club. Done a lot of other very high-end places. I have an amazing venue that I'm still keeping secret for the moment, because everybody wants to come to this gala. So register lu.ma/Washington Elite. We're going to do a lot of I can tell you that there's over I think it's over 30, but I'll just say over 20 different funds, liquidity providers, exchanges, and notable people that are already registered and planning to come to the event. If you are looking to make a big play there, or if you want access to those type of people, you need to reach out to me and let's talk. It'll be very fun. It'll be very fun, and it'll be very very good. It'll be very good, and it's all for a good cause as well. Of course, historically we have put a lot of disabled veterans, and all types of different people in different sports, and taken them to the Lake Placid Olympic Center in Lake Placid, and done all these things. So really looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. You can register that at Washington Elite Gala, lu.ma, Luma, /Washington Elite Gala. And of course, the Consensus tickets, just Google Consensus or go to consensus2024.coindesk.com. Referral code Bruce, and you are there. See you there, says Robin. Yes, we are excited to see you there, Robin. I'm glad you're up early. You're up early. I thought you were in Puerto Rico or something, aren't they? I guess they're ahead of us, aren't they? All right, well, let's bring on the great Matt Dixon. Sir Matt, how are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. Morning, Bruce. Morning to the amazing Impact Money community. We've got an action-packed day ahead today. So
I'll tell you what, it keeps going and going, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It feels different this time around for Bitcoin, and for the very reasons you said, this Bitcoin ETF. Just one thing you mentioned, and maybe you're talking about the futures ETF, but futures ETF is just paper Bitcoin. But the actual spot ETF, they have to hold the requisite amount of actual Bitcoin for the spot ETF. So the spot ETFs, the big ones we're talking about, they do hold Bitcoin, but futures ETFs...
It's true, but it is very different. Like even like Gemini, we were talking, Randy, so we were talking yesterday, and someone showed him they tried to withdraw their Bitcoins from the Gemini exchange. Gemini sent them an email and asked them why they wanted to withdraw them and what they were going to do with them, and did they know how to hold them. And there's this whole move here in the US, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. They really don't want people to hold Bitcoin, and they want just people to own digital or paper Bitcoin, as I call it. But yeah, I hope in a perfect world, I think they would just nobody would be able to own Bitcoin. You would only be able to own Bitcoin through a spot ETF, and that's it, or similar type of situation. We'll see. I don't think they'll get that through, but
yeah. So they're dressing it up as though they're concerned for the people, for Bitcoin holders, but obviously they've got another axe to grind.
They have ulterior motives.
Yeah. So I'll jump straight into sharing my screen. I trust you can see that.
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at PPI, which, as you say, came out hot yesterday. So the previous month, it was minus 0.1. We're expecting 0.3, came out 0.5. So we got an immediate sharp sell-off on risk assets and Bitcoin, which actually surprisingly bounced back. I'm not 100% sure why we got the bounce back that we did, although the most important figure is the CPI today. And PPI is a kind of precursor. Producer price inflation is what then drives prices for retailers, which then drives prices for consumers. And so it has a knock-on effect. So this PPI is a bit of a worry perhaps down the line the fact that producer price inflation is so high. So there's a warning, but maybe some people have an inkling of what's going to be coming out with CPI today. So we also had last night Fed Chair Powell's speech, and his conclusion basically was the same as usual, same old story. Reducing rates too soon or too much could result in reversal of progress we've seen on inflation and ultimately require tighter policy to get inflation back to 2%, but easing too late. So it's just the usual story. Nothing really new came out of that. So I think it's just saying that they're effectively data dependent, and they'll wait to see what happens with more data coming in. I'm going to look at a couple of inflation things. Here's producer price index, so PPI, that we looked at briefly yesterday. And it actually, as we saw, spiked up quite sharply. And whenever we see PPI spiking higher, it usually coincides with not usually, every time coincides with a recessionary period, every single time without fail. And the fact that PPI has spiked up, maybe that's a warning sign for us that we need to be alert to the potential for a recession coming. Here's gross domestic product. This is very long term, so it doesn't show a lot of detail. Probably should have shown a shorter term chart. So we're going back to 1940s actually, and just showing where recessions are coming in. But you can't deduce much from this. Obviously, when you see GDP turning down sharply, that usually coincides with a recession. And because it's such, if you look carefully, you can probably just about see it. There's a turn down every time we have recession, and obviously a big one back in the COVID time. But we're getting a turn down now in GDP, so maybe it will coincide with the next recession. And as I say, every time in the past it has done. Here's the unemployment rate we've seen before. When we see a spike lower in unemployment and it begins to turn around, that's when basically, again, it's a precursor to recession. So again, that's happened every time since the 1940s. So the fact that we've seen spike low and unemployment is ticking higher, and we saw that, I put figures out yesterday, I don't think I'm going to show them again, but basically unemployment is starting to tick up now. So that's a warning sign that we're like at the bottom of one of these turning points, and recession normally follows. In fact, recession followed every single time historically. So we do need to be aware of these, these warnings. Yeah, I have got these figures again, just showing what I showed yesterday, that the numbers came out way, way weaker than expected, and even the previous numbers were downgraded. So a lot of warning signs there that the economy is beginning to slow. And here's the outlook for inflation, the CPI numbers coming out tonight. So it's 4:30 Dubai time. So it's only, it's 2 hours time. We've got the inflation numbers coming out, the CPI numbers. So this is the big number. This is what we need to be watching out for, because this will drive risk assets one way or the other. Now, it just depends. As I say, we're actually expecting a bit of a reduction in CPI. If we get a shock like yesterday and they're higher, you can be sure risk assets are going to get absolutely smashed. But if we see them in line or lower, then it's going to be a real boost to risk assets. So we'll need to take a look at the charts in a minute to see what the charts are telling us for these expectations. But even so, I think that inflation is still definitely a concern, as Fed Chair said last night. They're keeping an eye on it. So yeah, these CPI numbers are just, they're all important. So I'm actually going to jump to the charts just to have a look at a couple of things that you mentioned. First of all, we will take a look at Bitcoin, which has been on a real tear today. And maybe, as I mentioned in one of my tweets on X, that maybe some people have a bit of information that they're privy to, that we're not privy to, that maybe CPI is going to come out weaker than expected. Now, from a chart perspective, I think we're potentially due for a good pump in risk assets. That would tell me that CPI might come out weaker than expected. And if it does, this will be confirmed. But some people, apparently, they're effectively betting that we're going to get weak CPI because these assets are pumping quite strongly. So Bitcoin up over 2% on a day that you'd expect them to be treading water ahead of CPI news. The market's pumping quite strongly. So we dipped last night to 61.052. We're now 62.85. So we're we're well up in percentage terms. As I say, well over 2% already today. And we're seeing that Bitcoin effect that's leading most of the market. Obviously, it's not leading the meme coins because they're, as we've always said, crypto on steroids, highly volatile. When the market goes up, they go up more. And when it goes down, they go down more. But amongst the main cryptos, Bitcoin is really powering. It's absolutely powering ahead, 62.9 now as we speak. So it's really powering ahead. So I just think that maybe they've got some information that we're not privy to about the CPI news coming up. So we've had these 5 waves up from this correction, whether it's a triangle or WXY, it doesn't matter because it's a correction. I think we've got a very clear 5 waves higher here. All the internal Fibonacci measurements are perfect. So I think we do have an impulsive move higher. So this is a correction down. Now, we can't be certain the correction's complete, but what we can be reasonably confident, if this is 5 waves, we know that price cannot dip below the start of wave 1 here. And you would expect it to turn somewhere around where it did, around these sort of levels. So it's perfectly reasonable, the turning point that we've had. And it's actually, we've had an impulsive move up, then a correction down, and now this looks like impulsive move up at the moment. We can't be certain, but I'm just saying overall we should be expecting much higher. And I actually think, in contrast to what most people say, a lot of people say crypto is just going to sleep for the rest of the year, or at least until election time. Nothing's going to happen. Well, I think Bitcoin is going to lead the way, and it's going to lead the way by pushing to new all-time highs, I think, relatively soon. Let's hope we get this slightly weaker CPI, that inflation is coming under control. If that's the case, the Fed will have the room to maneuver to lower interest rates, and that will mean there's more money flowing around in the economy, keep things buoyant, people feeling comfortable, and more money for risk assets like Bitcoin. So that'd be really, really positive. We've seen a turnaround, and I posted on X that actually we're expecting a turnaround from these sort of levels on lots of different assets I posted. We'll look briefly at gold. So gold has had a really nice pump to the upside. As Bruce was saying, this is corrected down. We've got impulsive higher. So it's strong likelihood that we're going to see new all-time highs. Don't know exactly when, but relatively soon we're going to see new all-time highs on gold, and other precious metals will be pumping alongside, I suspect. So this is a response most probably to inflationary pressures. So we got PPI come out 0.5 instead of 0.3 expected, and 0.2 last month. So big pump in PPI, that's inflation really. And so that means gold, being the traditional hedge against inflation, is the beneficiary of this inflation increase. And so that's why we're seeing these really nice, you can see the streams of green candles, nice impulsive moves here now to the upside. Let's hope it soon breaks higher. Although we don't want to see inflation taking off, we actually want to see inflation coming under control. But whatever happens, I think the gold bugs will be satisfied, because I think gold is going to continue to push to the upside. So that's gold. Oil is actually relatively suppressed at the moment. And I think that is probably, I know there are some tensions going on. It's just a bit quiet. We're not hearing a great deal of news right now out of Russia, Ukraine, Israel. It seems to people become inured to this news. They become used to it, and then they don't react. But then something big will happen. And I think the fact that Russia are being sort of pushed into a corner, they may take some action. I think Russia is the one to watch here. And who knows what could happen in the Middle East, whether that could escalate further. But at the moment, people are just a little bit used to the news, the regular flow of news. Yes, it's not good news. It's actually terrible news for those people involved in the conflict. But for people around the rest of the world, no new news is kind of, in a way, good news, that nothing new is happening. But something will happen at some point, I believe. So we need to be aware. We actually need to be sensitive to what's going on in these markets. And I do think we need to watch Russia, because they've made the threats that if there's any, boots on the ground by NATO countries, that will be their excuse for nuclear war. I don't know whether it'll ever come to that. Let's hope it doesn't. But if it did, then all bets are off with everything. So at the moment, oil is just continuing to push down. We already met the perfect, we passed the 100% extension. We passed this, we just about touched the support. I actually think that we are going to get a little bit of a push higher relatively soon in oil, because this looks like a bit of an impulse higher. This looks like a correction down. So I think we will push up higher soon. Gold and oil tend to have some reasonably positive correlation between them. So if we're seeing gold push up, I suspect that oil will push up as well. Solana is another one that's looking reasonably positive. And again, you can count these things different ways. I actually use Wade Basis quite often as a platform. And again, on my X, you can actually, there's a discount code there you get if you want to use it. But it's a great Elliott wave tool. And it shows you both neutral, bearish, and bullish wave counts. So you can look at all three are valid, and then you can basically build your risk reward around those three scenarios. So nobody knows for certain which of those scenarios will be the correct one. But as long as you build a proper risk reward around it, you can trade them for profit. So here, potentially, from the recent high we had not long ago, it was only March, end of March, we had a local high in Solana at about $209, $210. And we've had corrections down from that point. So I think it's ABW, X, and then ABY possibly. It's hard to say whether the correction's complete. So we could go lower, but I'm just saying it's corrective. So overall, longer term, we should push to new highs above this local high of $209. So I'm hopeful that we get weak CPI today, which will enable us to push higher, and would push quite substantially higher. So from the bottom here, it looks like we had a reasonably robust impulsive move to the upside. And this does look very, very corrective, overlapping movement, sideways slightly down. So it's a kind of what's called a bull flag. So this is the flag pole. This is the flag waving in the wind. And then you'd expect the break higher. And the break higher would be expected to be quite substantial. So I'm hoping that will start today with CPI. Nobody knows for sure, but that normally when you're in these markets, you can see the charts are calling for upside, but then you still need an excuse or a reason for them to actually do that. So the charts are very, very powerful. The charts can tell you something's going to happen. Timing is usually initiated by a particular fundamental bit of data or news in the market, geopolitical, economic, whatever it might be. But usually there's something which gives impetus to the move, even though the charts are telling you that the move is coming. So that there is a relationship there, and the charts are powerful. And we've even shown with Fibonacci turning points, extensions and retracements, they're very, very precise. So the markets aren't entirely random, and we just need to, appreciate those relationships. So interestingly, we've seen DXY, so dollar index, is actually, we had an ABC higher, we've been falling. So a little bit surprising, as I say, the fact that we had high PPI, so high inflation effectively, and yet the dollar is falling. So I'm not quite sure why the dollar is falling, unless, as I say, some people are privy to, maybe they're privy to some advanced news on CPI, that we're going to get low CPI. And if that's true, and if we get low CPI, then, as I say, these markets, the risk markets are going to pump. But if we get low CPI, then dollar index would actually fall further, most likely. So they're normally inversely correlated. For example, Bitcoin moves in the opposite direction normally, and we've shown that over the long term and the short term. We'll just take a quick look in the moments, a couple of minutes we've got left, at Doggy, one of Bruce's own favorite tokens. The dog. Yeah. So looking quite impulsive. We had a correction down here. Apparently, looks like a correction, and we clearly, it's probably a correction to downside. Certainly from here upwards looks impulsive, and then we had an ABC down. So I think we're actually due for probably quite a good pump to the upside on Doggy and all the other memes, even though Doggy isn't necessarily much of a meme anymore these days. bonk again is not really a meme anymore because it has genuine, use cases and utility. So, but even so, they're still among the more volatile ones, 4.5% up there, and Booker memes up 6%. So some really good ones. When you see a pullback in the market, and if the chart is telling you it's just corrective, these can be great ones. Obviously, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't overcommit. You don't commit money. You can't afford to lose it, especially into these memes. But if you see a good pullback and the chart is looking constructive, then you can really make some nice gains on these. As I say, Booker memes up 6%, over 6% today, looking really attractive. But as Bruce said, you can't go far wrong at the moment with Bitcoin, and that's I think Bitcoin is going to maintain its superiority, maintain its dominance, because more money has to flow in when there's basically a route for institutional money to flow into Bitcoin. And there's nothing else there that's going to get that. It looks as though Ethereum won't get its ETF for probably at least a year. They initially hoped it was going to be this month, but then with the SEC rulings and the Wells case and everything, basically they're not looking as though they're going to get their ETF anytime soon. So that set Ethereum back quite a bit. So where's Ethereum? Yeah, we see it's still well under 3,000 here. It's actually not moved at all in the same way as Bitcoin, even though it's got massive market cap, massive interest, massive utility. Most tokens are still built on Ethereum, although that is changing rapidly as more and more is built on Solana. But even so, Ethereum is a major token, but it's just been left behind a little bit because, and it's a bit like XRP, has been damaged quite a bit, probably with the SEC and no clear rulings. And it's just the lack of clarity, which is the problem. If we had some clarity, you'd know which way to jump, this way or that. But actually, the problem is the lack of clarity, the lack of direction. And surely regulators are supposed to give some clarity to tell people, inform people what they need to be doing, but they haven't been able to do that. And that's why the likes of XRP and Ethereum, I suppose, and other tokens have been languishing and not been able to pump. But CPI could change all that later today. So I think that's my allotted time, isn't it, Bruce?
Yes, sir. It will be interesting to see how the markets react, right, with this news today. I can't imagine that inflation. I mean, the thing about these inflation numbers is they're all so cooked anyway. And I mean, I mentioned we had in a way I hate to out him over and over again, but Ralph Benko, he says that we had a 9% inflation under Trump, and it's lower now. And of course, that I was just looking earlier today. Totally, we had 1.6 inflation. We went up to 9% inflation in 2022, actually. But anyway, point is that they cook these numbers. Is the point? The numbers are just so cooked that it's not at all what we feel. And I was also reading, coffee is up 78% here in the US, so they just took coffee off. So I feel like they can almost make the numbers whatever they want, and so it'll be interesting to see what they are today.
Yeah, I think the formulas have been very carefully designed to filter out some of those price increases, some of those big price increases. And I don't think they change the formulas on a regular basis, but they know which prices go up more, and I think they've excluded those from the actual calculation. And so, as you say, people experience much higher rising cost of living than the inflation figures actually portray. So, as you say, they're much lower than what people are experiencing. Just finally, before I go, ICP, one of our favorite tokens, we clearly have a corrective move to the downside here. So I am genuinely hopeful that we're going to get a good pump to the upside, because this looks very bull flaggish to me with this flagpole here and this flag in the wind here. So I'm really hopeful. I think CPI is going to be good for us today. We did actually say in advance yesterday that PPI was going to be high. It came out high. You wouldn't expect CPI will be low, but I'm calling it in advance. CPI is going to be coming in lower, and it's going to give a pump. That's my feeling. obviously.
Well, since they can make the numbers pretty much whatever they want, it would make sense. And they have a push down on the market. And then, of course, they factor these things in. So the indicators are, I would agree, that people are expecting that as well. So amazing.
Yeah. Thank you very much again for allowing me the opportunity to share my charts. I love doing it, and I hope it's helpful to people, and look forward to catching up again tomorrow and listen to your interview now.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Matt. It is always a pleasure. I have with me here, this is Sebastian Dupont. Sebastian Dupont, he's with Arcathic, and pretty interesting interview and platform that they have put together. This interview was done at the Paris Blockchain Week, which was an amazing event, and they did a great job. We'll definitely be back there. Let me go ahead and play this.
So, hey, we are back here at Paris Blockchain Week. He is with Architect.
Hold on.
So, thanks for coming on, first of all. And tell me a little bit about Architect.
Yeah.
And what brought you here to the Paris Blockchain Week?
Yeah, so Architect, it's a new layer one based on the new consensus, helping to reduce the energy consumption and to really dedicate it to people, common people, not really geek people. And what we're expecting on that event is just to be able to explain more and to because inside the ADN of that project, it's what we want is just to anyone able to have all tools to understand what happened with blockchain. Blockchain is a new way, so it's going to remove all cybersecurity problem, all data problems, so identification. So because we have also a project to use the finger veins to extract a private key for a person, but it's proven identity. So what we want at the end is just to be to help anyone to be really powerful inside computer technology. That's what we want. Yeah.
That's really cool. So there's a lot there. So you're doing private keys by the person's fingerprints?
Yeah. Right? And that's something no one can solve. So that's the first time for that. So before that, we had a fingerprints, iris, face, but all that stuff.
I'm still listening. I'm just going to look at it while we're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was already here.
So, and you can see that.
I'm going to share this.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here we are. Public blockchain layer 1.
Yeah. And also see the white paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm on the right screen here. No, I need to switch. Share this one. Okay. So here's the white paper right here.
Yeah.
It is 12 pages long, not bad. And now, okay, so what is your background? How did you get started in this?
So yeah, so I started in Thales, which is a very cybersecurity expert. After that, I was in charge of Orange Money. So it was how to provide a bank for common people in Africa. So and after that, so I was in Toronto to explain the advantages of blockchain. And after that, so yeah, I decided to work specifically how to remove, how to help people to have easily how to store a private key. So my grandma asked me, okay, Seb, I love what you do, but I'm sure I won't be able to use it. So I said, yeah, I have to try to find a solution for her and for all people like her having no knowledge in computer technologies, and can be a risk. For her, everything on the internet is a risk. So, and it was the idea of that. The finger is your identity, but you'll always be the owner of that, your identity, what you are gonna do.
So that's pretty interesting. So do you have I went back to the main page here. Do you have on here, like what is it using to do that?
So yeah, so maybe you can find
back to the white paper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we didn't put too much information on it. So probably one of the last page.
Okay.
So that's the difference between that blockchain and the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, I'm a fan of Bitcoin blockchain, but the problem is, if we want to scale, we have to find another way to manage transaction.
Yeah.
So, Nilesh,
Okay.
co-founder.
Here we are.
Yeah, so that's the idea. So it's a kind of mixture. So there is nowhere you will store your data.
Okay.
So your finger veins will be the key to decrypt your personal identity inside the blockchain. So no one will, whatever the person, whatever the hacker, he won't be able to steal anything from yourself.
Unless they take your finger.
Yes, even he's going to take it because we are going to check if you have some oxygen on it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it can't work.
Oh, interesting. So multispectral analysis it
Yeah.
shows here, infrared veins.
Yeah.
Let me finish here. You have the ultrasound veins, lateral fingerprints.
Yes.
We have our. This
So,
is really
yeah.
cool.
They are mixed all together. So if one fail,
Yeah.
one of the three will work.
Okay.
And what is good with that is the two others will be stored is a new evolution of your finger.
Okay.
If you're going to have some too much burger or something like that, it will be okay.
Yeah.
It will be the system. So the math can help you to learn all that stuff.
Well, that's really cool, man. I haven't seen anybody else do that. So, how long have you guys been at it? How long have you been working at it?
So
How long has the company been around?
Oh yeah, from 2017, so quite long right now for a blockchain company. So it's quite old one. And so but it's working well. So
yeah, the space is it's maturing, right? We have more and more people that have been around since 2017.
I remember the time where it was necessary to explain what is blockchain, what's that name.
Yeah.
So okay, so right now it's a bit better because it can be used for supply chain, etc. So we can start from that and to explain what is a good advantages and tech.
And so, do you have a token, right?
Yes, the token is UCO.
Okay.
And it's a gas for the blockchain itself. So, and we are going to launch in the few weeks the DeFi ecosystem with a pure DEX on it, and helping everything to work. Another project we are going to launch is called Molecular. It's based on the fact that no one today is able to easily create a new business or to create as an open source. You are an open source guy, developer. You want to create something. You will work for 1, 2, 3 years, and after that, okay, I have the stuff to do. The idea is just to get remuneration to that guys all the life of that guy. So until the time the tool will be used, the guy will be paid for that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. So I think that's awesome. You know, it's one of the things I talk about all the time around the world is they say, you know, Bitcoin's one of those things like you don't have to have it on your hardware. You don't have to have it anywhere. You can just remember your seed phrase. But this is like a whole nother step.
Yeah.
You don't even need to remember. You just
your body is your key, so no way to lose it or to forget it.
So is there a device? Is there a physical device?
Yeah. We need a reader, and that reader will be authenticated by the blockchain. So inside the blockchain, you have a proof of work, and the proof of work will work on the authentication of the device itself.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And something good I can tell you, it's just even if you extract the seed of your finger without the good device authenticated, you can't do anything. So
it won't work.
It
won't work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So did you guys did you do a funding round or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pre-Series A right now. And so I'm just gonna in a appointment just after. So
Okay, so you're in a Series A right now.
Yeah.
How much are you raising?
So 2 million.
2 million. Yeah. And that's to build the machines or what?
It's just to go on to what I explained to you about Molecular, which is a global platform as a service and helping Web 2, Web 3. Because something I didn't mention, but we have emails, we have web hosting, we have data storage inside our blockchain. So it's so cool. So what is good inside Web 2, we put it inside Web 3.
Yeah.
So at the end, plus biometrics, of course.
Right.
So at the end, it can be something quite good. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, man. I think it's pretty slick. So okay. Now, and you can store different coins in the future, not just this coin, or even already.
Yeah. With the DEX, for example, we have a wrap Ethereum, wrap Bitcoin, etc. So of course, yes. And for anyone wanting to create an ICO through our blockchain, everything is so easy. Yeah.
Everything's right there.
Yeah.
So, and what did you base the blockchain off of? I understand it's a layer 1, but did you maybe go off Ethereum, or did you kind of base it off of Bitcoin, or what were your thoughts when you?
Oh, so sorry.
So when you, I know it's a layer 1, but what did you base it off of when you were building the blockchain? Like,
Oh, it's a pure new blockchain.
Yeah. Did you use Rust code or something like that?
Oh, it's Elixir, but
okay.
It's based on the Elixir language.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it was your question, but
yes,
okay,
it was.
good.
It didn't start out as that, and then I said, okay, I'll take it a further layer. So that's really cool. So you guys are you're operating. You're in your Series A right now. Who is the Series A open for? Any?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Right now, it's really important to have most of the people from a public one. So
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So we're working on both because it's important to have with us some good. With some relationships, trust, obviously like that.
Yes.
But also common people.
You want it decentralized, right?
Yeah,
as possible.
Exactly.
Really cool. So what's the website, the social media? How do people find you guys?
Everywhere. So it's all described inside our website, architect.net.
Architect.net. Use the website. All their social media, everything is on there. I think it's a really cool project. If you can get involved. Now, once you have this, like, we have a minute and a half left. Once you launch in the next few weeks, like you said, there's a DeFi portion of it. That's going to open up things to people. Is the token already traded now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Where is it traded?
Also in ZBDEX, in Probit, in so many secs, and of course in Swap all dexes, I think.
Yeah.
And in a few days inside our blockchain also. So
inside the blockchain.
So for anyone wanted to have liquidity, also it's really open right now, and it's a very good deal. So
okay. Yeah. All right, well, Sebastian, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it. We're gonna be following this one. I think it's a pretty cool one. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
All right, so there you have it, folks. Sebastian Dupont. Make sure to check them out. Architect.net. Really interesting technology that is coming out of the blockchain space. It's one of the things I always loved about this space was the technology and also the people. The people that are involved in the space are smart, they're forward thinking, and we all pretty much believe the same things. And actually, I would say that politically in my own country, most of us all believe the same things too. And what we want to focus on is the things that we agree on. Okay, it's the things that can move us forward together, because that's what's so important. And what do we all believe in? We all believe in freedom. We all believe in ownership, that we should be able to own something that the government can't take, that people can't take, that we can own it, that it is ours. We all believe that. We all believe in having freedom. We all believe in being able to own something. And we all believe in privacy. We all believe in the right of human beings to have privacy. And that means that the government is not supposed to be able to just spy on us. They're not supposed to be able to come into our lives and look at everything. They're not able to just go into our homes and do things. And that's pretty universal. And it's definitely universal across the blockchain, the Bitcoin space. It's one of the things that drove me to it very early on, was that we all believed in those things. And I've been telling people around the world on stage for over a decade now that, hey guys, I don't care if you vote Democrat, or I don't care if you vote Republican or Libertarian or whatever. We all agree on these three things. These are the most important things that we agree on. What we have right now in the US is a uniparty, and the uniparty is it's an illusion of choice. You have an illusion of picking one or picking the other, and you can see it doesn't really matter who gets in there. We pretty much have the same results. So we need to get to the bottom of that. We need to work together. Guys. Listen, I know everybody wants to, we want to do this and we want to do that and everything else, but it's like I tell everybody from the beginning of the war over in the Ukraine and what's happening in the Middle East, guys, we have to work together. Okay. We need to get back to the table. And we need to talk to each other, because that's the way forward. It saved the lives. You and me were half, maybe, hopefully not half past our lives, but we're in there quite a bit. And let's face it, maybe we are half past our lives. The future is the kids. Future of what's going to happen is the kids. And that's another thing. You need to be involved in your kids. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm doing some stuff with the kids. I can't, I won't talk about right now. We're doing some things, and I'll get to share in the next little bit, but it's really important. Fathers out there, for you to be present. If you're not a father yet, you should probably become one. It's the best thing you could ever do. Okay. Just do it, as I always say. And if you're a lady, or if you're a mom, be present. Be present for your kids. And it's hard right now. I know it's hard. Most people are working really hard. And if you don't have kids, have some kids. Okay. That's the most important thing that we can do. We can't take any of the money with us. The only thing that we really leave, that we can leave, that continues, of course, you get a legacy. Yeah. But your kids. Okay, guys. So we have a population decline. Elon talks about it. We need to handle that as much as possible. I love you guys. It's always a pleasure. See you in a few hours. Cheers. I should probably cue up my video before I do that. So see you in a few hours, and
your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reach